Retomando.
There aren't many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to...
Vacher.
De novo.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? That's kinda spooky.
Vacher? Vacher.
As pessoas diluídas.
Hey, why are you still walking
Opa,
towards it?
tá errado.
There might be
Aí.
something nasty in the water. Huh? Hang on. Hey, traveler? Stop walking. Come on, wake up.
Aqui eu vou cair na fonte. Oceanide.
Vacher, are you... No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know I'm... Wait. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on... Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light. I also remember going, no matter where I went, Vacher would go with. But now, we can no longer go back. No! Our reunion no longer. The thought of me gives him no succor. If you meet Vacher, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to... Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? Dissolving. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water's still surface. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence.
Interessante. Então ele pode desconectar a alma, a consciência dele.
Wake up! Come on, hurry!
Ué,
Bobby is outnumbered!
do nada isso. Ah, tá usando a sombra branca? Na parte direita. É.
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex.
Do nada isso. A Clorinde. Clorinte. Ah, achei que eu tava com eles. Eu tava estranhando já.
Quick, now's our chance!
É a espada de proficiência. Ferreiro. Nossa! Que da hora. É a sombra branca mesmo. Parece que elas não se gostam muito. Ou a Navia não gosta da
I
Clorinde.
should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I followed you. I believe that following someone without their knowledge...
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would...
Do not speak of...
Sorry, demoiselle.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever.
Será que ela guarda
What else
costas
do you
pro
know?
pai dela?
How did you come to the conclusion?
I doubt I know much more than you. But I believe that the mastermind behind the your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. And what about these garter mechs? I thought...
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to... I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must...
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's...
Yes. Be careful. And do not...
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will... Regardless, thank you for your help today.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you.
Ela lembra
Good day,
corvo.
all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've got.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being...
I know, I just... She's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and not even... Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon really...
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back then. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank...
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of...
All right, you...
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in
Well, to be honest, you're the one...
Huh? Really?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake. After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I settled that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if...
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Então todo mundo que bebeu vai virar água.
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for
Nossa.
me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest...
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as I could.
What? Why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny and...
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primal?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just... Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! But it was real faint. Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sense...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing.
New intel?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell, since he saw that young woman dissolve, but he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't... And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely...
Esse cara é estranho, mano.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure...
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted any...
Very good. But
I shall find rooms for our...
thank you, Malus. Now, let's go.
perdi, calma. Ah, de ver que ela vai ver.
So, this is your...
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can...
Well, after all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds...
Seems like it's tough times for everyone.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my...
Your father... He would...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't... My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Calla 3 years ago. He was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his...
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer at the time. But strangely, he not only but even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having... 3... How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearance.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom
Será que
of
ele
that
tava
case.
preso a solucionar e por isso ele foi acusado?
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in. But, however, I believe that if the murder I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications. And now, here I am investigating his death.
Demoiselle, please.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one... Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of people love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching...
What? How could... never mind.
There is one other thing. Master Callus...
Oh, her? Well, then... Yeah.
Ah,
Not the sort of thing that you can just let go...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him. There was only ever...
It's not that I don't understand her.
Don't worry, Navia. I'm on...
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she and... Yes, that is our under...
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to... All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like... thanks.
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will...
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vache.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been... I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation.
Does that mean we're too late?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place, and that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanid you met is one of the young women who went missing.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? In that case, let's go talk to...
Não é tão simples assim, quer ver?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the...
Será que ela também tem alguma coisa com ele? Sério, ele tem um de resina.
Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Depois eu vejo. Acho que 1h30 mais ou menos. 3? Mas tá marcando às 18. O horário não mudou? Tava. Só às 20 horas então, mano. Caramba. Faz parte.
Please state your business here. The chief just... This place...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care.
See? They've got great discipline.
Yep. I'm content. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you...
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here...
All right then, I'll let you through. The chief just...
Thanks.
Ele tá ocupado.
Please come in.
Que da hora. Era água, né? É água.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only like to get in.
It's all right. Please let me know.
So you're...
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearance...
Ah, I see.
É água, não
Who
é?
knew that
Voando
Neuvillette
ali.
would be so easy to talk?
Nossa, os olhos dele, mano.
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of... There are no records of him either in the files or...
Traveler? What if...
Is that so? I'll write that.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you. Even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to... If you truly regret my father's death, why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort. There are still so many things. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all... It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never... Oh, well. In any case, everyone already knows my apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
É bem pessoal o caso.
Navia,
I'm fine.
you're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active
Acho que ele ficou
today.
triste.
How
Por isso tá
strange.
chovendo.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that. But didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your...
I really think I found a true genius for... Alright, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's...
Yeah, we're gonna...
Do you want to go with
Seu
me now?
pai.
Or do you want to head over by your... Great. Let's go.
Esse dia automático é muito bom. TP ainda.
Whoa. What a huge ship!
There's no need to be so surprised. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina... Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in this... But now that Paimon has seen this ship for her...
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began after all.
Ali o troco.
Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle. And you said before that you still had some business at the court.
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me... You still remember, right, Melus?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linnick.
Could you tell us a bit more about what...
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, at a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant...
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, if you drink Synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to Synth.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. But not only that, the boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth
Por isso que foi
operation.
investigado
Put an end to the problem.
Yes,
e
but
acusado.
the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the... Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret. And the man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned... But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father.
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious. Looking back on it, though, I I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, but considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for it. I think this third person. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as you're and your father's butler, I must still offer our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are, even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson, there is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both.
If that's indeed what he wished for, was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful, did he think I'd just accept his meaningless? I've never accepted that. Ever. I want to find out the real answer forever.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be
Ele
quite
apoia ela,
reliable.
mas ele também avisa dos
More
perigos.
importantly, demoiselle.
So you do know something else, Malus.
Yes, I do. In fact, even before. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he and the serial disappearances case called
Então ele já
5
morreu.
years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already, but as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked, even though Boss has been gone for...
No. I don't believe it. He never...
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as...
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me, I'm sure he'd be
That fool. No. He might have set up everything precisely because... Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Mas se a gente for e não participa do grupo, então nesse caso não vai ter guerra.
The Fontaine authorities.
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Huh. That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar.
Será que é outro cara? Imagina se é ele mesmo.
Or at least have an informant planted here. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Só cargo alto, quer ver?
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss, in the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're...
So, they're like a sister?
Yes, you can say that. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina de Rus. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, since Thierry is always in the know about our
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right...
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to...
Of course.
You're too kind, my lady. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence after that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken. If it might help, you could also pay them.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to
Useless. Useless.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy.
Thank you for arranging everything for...
Excuse me, miss.
Oh,
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rus...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of...
You don't understand it.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment. On the matter regarding my husband,
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he tried to be as careful as he could, but even so,
They found out about...
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I don't know that for sure, but you could... Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken even if he fired the shot that killed my husband. It was likely in self...
But Mama, why is Papa still? Papa always wanted to be a good man.
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah, Papa was...
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man, regardless of whether he left you a parasol,
Oh,
thank you for everything you've told me.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak...
You really think so? That's the first time...
are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Laurent should be nearby, and we should be able to find T...
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic?
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened, after my partner here put the dots together for me, can you do me a favor and try to recall...
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling... After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and... But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr.
So you also remembered...
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure, but according to the guards, that about the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there...
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. The gun he was holding probably belonged...
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying, But hold on. If that's what he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, did he lose all faith in the courts?
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So, I think I'll tell you everything.
I understand. Then, and if I may just say one more thing. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callis. But it was Mr. Callis's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of no matter what others might say. He'll always be the...
Don't worry. I will definitely... You and all our other comrades at the Spina Hey, Thierry! It's me!
Oh, now, what bring...
Oh, so you...
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances...
I mean, where I work, it's really up to me. Callis did a fantastic job running the town. Building Spina di Rasulov, it would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly... Anyway, enough
yes. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case...
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case. If you want to go through the original files from your...
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have enough...
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to...
Well, you see, just recently, so... if you, hypothetically, wanted to do something against...
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching, if I had to make an analogy. When you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind. And removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. So I can promise you, those mecha, they're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super
Lentamente
rich.
como é que você sabia do ataque?
Then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Jokes aside, I'd like to wish I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come.
Worthless!
Hello. How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please... Sure.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as...
Oh, it's all right. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened.
Yes,
Oh, you...
that's right. I went there with Navia to see the match. I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf. I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of...
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's...
Exactly. I still don't have my...
Oh, and...
We were attacked on Arrhenius by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt, if not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie...
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend... Do you have any new thoughts on my father?
About that. Sorry, the Confrérie was responsible for that banquet. So I was out and about, then I heard the sound of a gun...
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are any valuable clues
Diferente dos
elsewhere.
outros, ele só viu um disparo.
Sounds good. Just let me
Então
know
vamos
if
for
you ever
dois
need
disparos.
more. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend...
We've talked to all three suspects.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single... Anyway, even though we didn't make...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right. Flora mentioned that Callus probably only...
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth...
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just...
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective? Makes sense. But besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more...
Do you think he knew, even then?
Given everything that's... But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Thierry, you say? Huh, but... I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the...
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha? If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out.
Uncle Marcel? And with funds from the Confrérie? Still really hard for me to imagine, though. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of Mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Florent? But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly—
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mech?
Exactly. He can't— Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through—
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people.
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of the suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to— Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all—
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes. Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extreme. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging—
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking.
Huh? Aren't you the guy?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called.
What? Is that—
Yeah, we know him.
Well, he's been accused of.
Wait, how?
That's what I thought was strange about it. So if the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get.
Right. Because they'll—
Yeah. And it'll.
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, you're right. This is our best opportunity. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be—
We'll help you.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malus, Silver.
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson. It's our hope that...
Thank you so much.
See you then. Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Huh. According to Malus's info, the synth production base...
Greetings. I am the Chief Justice, or Iudex, of Fontaine. But you may...
driving rain or winds that... Reduced to just standing around.